My dear friends, I am Dr. Omkar Prasad Vaidya. Today I will be discussing about risk factors of cirrhosis of liver. Now, what is cirrhosis of liver? Cirrhosis of liver simply means scarring of the liver tissue or fibrosis of the liver tissue or permanent damage to the liver tissue, and it is a chronic and progressive state and it is irreversible. Now, fatty liver is responsible for or precursor of or responsible for transformation into cirrhosis of liver. So fatty liver, various risk factors which causes fatty liver, and if it is not prevented in right moment, it may convert into or transfer into a stage known as cirrhosis of liver. So cirrhosis simply means scarring of the liver tissue or replacement of the normal hepatic tissue with scars or fibrous tissue or scarring, and it is a permanent damage to the liver tissue and it is irreversible. And this cirrhosis, if it is not prevented or if not treated or progression is not stopped, it can lead to various complications of cirrhosis of liver like hepatocellular carcinoma, and even it leads to hepatic encephalopathy, portal hypertension, and various signs symptoms, and increase the mortality and morbidity of subjects. It is also responsible for conversion into end-stage liver disease or liver failure, where one of the important treatment policies is liver transplantation. So cirrhosis of liver may be responsible for end-stage liver disease or liver failure, and only one mode of treatment is liver transplantation. So liver transplantation is the most common treatment of end-stage liver disease, and cirrhosis of liver may be one of the important cause of liver transplantation if it is not prevented. That's why knowledge of the various risk factors and various preventive measures is very much important, so as to prevent the risk of getting cirrhosis of liver, as well as to prevent the progression of the cirrhosis of liver, so that complication of the cirrhosis can be prevented and mortality and morbidity can be prevented. Thus, proper knowledge of the risk factors is always very much important. And also we should know knowledge of the risk factors can help physicians as well as patients to stop the progression of the disease and liver injury, so that we can stop the or minimize the risk of getting liver failure or various complication of cirrhosis that may proceed with time. And because of that we must need the proper knowledge of the risk factors, and today we will try to discuss what are the various causes as well as risk factors of cirrhosis of liver. So number one most common risk factor of cirrhosis of liver is chronic heavy dose alcoholism. Now alcohol is a drug or a toxin or a hepatotoxin or a chemical substance that is metabolized in the liver. It is metabolized in the presence of an enzyme known as alcohol dehydrogenase to form acetaldehyde, which in the presence of acetaldehyde dehydrogenase will form acetate. Now in those patients where they don't have acetaldehyde dehydrogenase, the acetaldehyde quantity in the blood will increase, and that is one of the important chemical substance that is responsible for liver injury or damage to the liver and may form the fatty liver. So chronic alcoholism especially leads to the one of the important preventable stage of liver disease or chronic liver disease known as fatty liver, and this fatty liver, if it is not prevented, can lead to cirrhosis of liver. Now fatty liver is a stage where there is excessive accumulation of fat in the liver, and normally there is a deposition of fat, but when the deposition is more than normal we call it fatty liver. Now fatty liver is reversible, and if you cut down the and treat the various conditions or risk factors of fatty liver, we can easily treat the conversion of fatty liver and prevention of fatty liver, as well as conversion of fatty liver into cirrhosis of liver. Thus, knowledge of risk factor is very much important, and chronic heavy dose alcoholism is one of the important risk factor for development of cirrhosis of liver, because chronic alcoholism leads to the production of one substance known as acetaldehyde, which causes direct liver injury and accelerates the stage of fatty liver. And from fatty liver if the alcoholism is persistent, and if you do not stop the alcoholism, then within several years it may enter into a stage known as stage of cirrhosis. So chronic alcohol abuse is a very much toxic substance, and it is one of the important risk factor for development of cirrhosis as well as fatty liver, and also responsible for end stage liver disease or liver failure or hepatic failure. Next important risk factor is hepatitis virus B. So hepatitis virus B is one of the important risk factor for development of hepatocellular carcinoma as well as cirrhosis of liver. Now hepatitis B is a virus which can be prevented by vaccination. At the same time, it is transmitted via blood-borne products or blood products. So those persons who are sharing needles, those who are taking rapid or regular blood transfusion, or at least once in a lifetime also blood transfusion which is not matched correctly or checked for HIV hepatitis B virus infection, can ultimately have hepatitis B in future, which if remain silent, and silently it can lead to hepatic cirrhosis or liver cirrhosis. That's why hepatitis B is very much risky for liver, because it may cause hepatitis which may ultimately ends in cirrhosis as well as hepatic carcinoma and end-stage liver disease also. So hepatitis B is a virus which is transmitted via IV drug abusers or IV sharing needles, then unprotected sex, then through blood products, person who are taking blood transfusion, the person who are on hemodialysis. So all these patients who are having the high risk of getting hepatitis B should be screened for hepatitis B. They should be take vaccination for hepatitis B, and in case they are positive for hepatitis B, they should take the antiviral drugs and regular vaccination and treatment so as to decrease the viral load, so as to prevent the future development of hepatocellular cirrhosis and hepatocellular carcinoma. Another important viral infection that can lead to cirrhosis is hepatitis C virus. C virus is transmitted by blood products, IV drugs, and it may be associated with HIV also. So almost in HIV patients, they are also screened for hepatitis C and B. It is also sexually transmitted and transmitted by IV drug or needle sharing, but there is no vaccination still now. But antiviral therapy and their interferon therapy, if once the person have positive hepatitis C in their blood, they can be treated with antiviral drug as well as interferons, and we should sincerely cure the or treat the hepatitis C positive condition. And if it can be prevented, it can ultimately lower the risk of development of hepatocellular carcinoma as well as cirrhosis of liver. So two important viruses, hepatitis B, C is very much important. According to recent studies, hepatitis D virus is also responsible for liver failure and cirrhosis. Now, other risk factors. There is another risk factor, or sometimes cirrhosis of liver can also happen in those subjects who are not taking any alcohol also, and they may pass a stage also called fatty liver, but they don't have any history of alcoholism, or they are not taking any alcohol. So that condition is called non-alcoholic fatty liver or non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. So actually it is a condition where there is fatty liver without alcoholism, without any effect of alcohol. Or those persons who are not taking alcohol, still they may have fatty liver because some other condition. It may be because of diabetes, hypertension, hyperlipidemia, obesity, metabolic syndrome, insulin resistance, and so on. So these are the various conditions which may lead to alcoholic fatty liver and non-alcoholic fatty liver, which may lead to non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, and which, if it is not prevented in time with modifiable risk factor prevention, can lead to cirrhosis of liver. So non-alcoholic fatty liver or non-alcoholic steatohepatitis may be one of the important risk factor for development of cirrhosis for those subjects who are not taking alcohol. So without taking alcohol also, person may go into a stage of fatty liver and leading to cirrhosis in future. Another important risk factor is hemochromatosis. What is hemochromatosis or hemochromatosis? Hemochromatosis is here iron toxicity. It is also called iron toxicity, where iron will be deposited in various organs. It will deposit in pancreas, may leads to diabetes mellitus, or also called bronze diabetes. It may leads to deposition in heart, leading to cardiac failure. It may deposit in the liver to cause cirrhosis. So hemochromatosis may occur because of increase of iron intake in the body or because of excessive iron absorption because of various clinical conditions. So hemochromatosis leads to increase in plasma level of iron, serum ferritin and serum iron level in the blood, and this iron may deposit in the liver and ultimately cause hepatocellular damage leading to cirrhosis of liver. So hemochromatosis or iron toxicity or iron overload leads to excessive iron deposition in the liver. You know, iron is one of the important metal which are deposited in liver. Now liver is a stored house of various heavy metals. So all the heavy metals when undergo toxicity may ultimately can hamper the liver. Iron is one of them. Iron toxicity or hemochromatosis may leads to deposition of iron in the liver, which may leads to cirrhosis of liver in future. Another important disease is cystic fibrosis. It's a disease because of chloride channel defect, which involves the pancreas, which involves the lung to involve the alveoli, and there is condition known as emphysema and pancreatic problem. Besides, it also leads to cirrhosis of liver or chronic liver disease. So it is a chloride channel defect which involves lung. In lung it causes emphysema or alveolar damage. In pancreas it may leads to pancreatic insufficiency, and in case of liver it may leads to cirrhosis of liver or chronic liver disease. So cystic fibrosis is a hereditary condition or genetic disease or a channelopathy which is because of chloride channel defect and which may ultimately leads to cirrhosis of liver. Another one is Wilson disease or copper toxicity. Wilson disease is a disease or also known as hepatolenticular degeneration. Here plasma copper level will be very much high. It is because of either excessive reabsorption of copper or is because of defect in the ceruloplasmin, which is responsible for copper transfer. So there is a defect in the copper metabolism and copper transfer in the blood or transport of copper in the blood, leading to the deposition of copper in the liver, leading to the condition called hepatolenticular degeneration or Wilson disease, and which is just like a heavy metal, ultimately leads to heavy metal toxicity, and it may ultimately cause damage to the liver, leading to a condition known as cirrhosis of liver. So excessive copper accumulation in the liver can also lead to cirrhosis, and it can be seen in condition known as Wilson disease or hepatolenticular degeneration, which may be because of genetic mutation or gene mutation and ceruloplasmin defect also. Ceruloplasmin is a protein which is responsible for copper transport in the blood. So we should always be cautious of taking excessive copper, as well as those who are suffering from Wilson disease should be cured very sincerely so as to prevent the hepatolenticular degeneration or liver failure or chronic liver disease, which may ultimately leads to cirrhosis of liver. Then another important cause is biliary atresia. Biliary means bile duct and atresia means defect or absence of the bile duct. So absence of the bile tree or biliary tree or defect in the or malformation in the biliary tree may ultimately leads to cirrhosis of liver. Now congenital absence of the biliary tree or biliary ducts or malformation in the biliary tree or biliary duct may leads to a condition known as cirrhosis of liver. Now biliary atresia is one of the most common cause of liver transplantation in children. So in children, one of the important cause is biliary atresia, that is a congenital inherited condition because of defect in biliary tree or biliary duct malformation, and that's why there is absence of the biliary tree or atresia of the biliary tree, and because of this there is a more accumulation of bile in the liver, leads to damage to the liver tissue, and ultimately because of that or more traces of bile inside the liver, inside the hepatocyte, causes damage to the hepatocytes, leading to cirrhosis in future. So biliary atresia is one of the important cause of liver failure in children, and biliary atresia is one of the important cause of liver transplant in pediatric age group. So if it is present mostly in children because there is a congenital disorder or malformation because of defect in biliary tree or malformation in the bile duct. The other important disease which may leads to cirrhosis is galactosemia. Galactosemia, here there is excessive production or rising level of galactose in the blood, and this can deposit in the liver and may leads to cirrhosis of liver. Then another disease which may leads to cirrhosis is glycogen storage disease. So there is abnormal glycogen metabolism, and because of that glycogen metabolism will be affected, and there will be deposit of glycogen in the liver in abnormal amount, and which may leads to increased risk of cirrhosis in future. So both glycogen storage disease and galactosemia can be treated, and there may be some genetic mutation is also responsible for both these conditions, enzyme defects. So we have to treat this condition very sincerely so as to prevent the cirrhosis of liver or end-stage liver disease in future. Besides, some genetic digestive condition or some digestive situation or disorder may also lead to cirrhosis, like Alagille syndrome. So today that we will not discuss here, but some genetic digestive disease like Alagille syndrome or Alagille syndrome may be responsible for development of cirrhosis. So some genetic disorder also may increase the risk of suffering from cirrhosis of liver. Then comes the autoimmune hepatitis. Autoimmune hepatitis means here antibodies are produced against the hepatic tissue, and that is defect in the hematological disorder, autoimmune mechanism leading to destruction of the hepatocytes or liver. And because of autoimmune destruction, the liver undergoes scarring and ultimately shrunken and ultimately enters into a stage known as cirrhosis of liver. So we should treat the autoimmune hepatitis very sincerely by immunosuppressive drugs so as to prevent the future risk of suffering from cirrhosis. Next comes another important cause of cirrhosis is primary biliary cirrhosis. Here actually there is a destruction of the bile duct because of autoimmune mechanism or any other defect. So because of that, there will be more amount of accumulation of bile inside the hepatocyte or inside the liver in the hepatic bile ducts. And because of the stasis, they cause gradual damage to the hepatocyte structure and ultimately enters into a stage of cirrhosis. So primary biliary cirrhosis may also lead to a liver cirrhosis. Here there is a destruction of the bile duct because of some pathology, maybe because of some inflammation or because of some autoimmune mechanism. It may lead to defect in the or damage to the or destruction to the bile ducts, and that's why bile flow will be reduced or bile flow will be hampered. So there will be more stages of bile inside the liver, leading to gradual destruction or toxic effect of the bile on the liver. It damages the liver on hepatocytes and ultimately leads to cirrhosis of liver. Another important risk factor or causing factor or etiology of cirrhosis is primary sclerosing cholangitis. Primary sclerosing cholangitis means it is a hardening and scarring of the bile ducts. So because of inflammation or because of autoimmune process or because of gradual destruction, it leads to gradual hardening and scarring of the. Scarring means formation of scar tissue on the bile ducts, and because of the formation of scar tissue and fibrous tissue, the bile flow is hampered. So lumen of the bile duct can be hampered, and that's why bile flow is hampered. So there is also more stasis of bile inside the liver, leading to biliary cirrhosis as well as liver cirrhosis. So primary sclerosing cholangitis, it may be an autoimmune disorder, and some other autoimmune disorders may be associated with it, which is associated with GIT, like ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. Ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease are two conditions which are also associated with primary sclerosing cholangitis and may also increase the risk of cirrhosis of liver in future. Then other infections, some infections like syphilis, brucellosis, then schistosoma hematobium infection or schistosomiasis. So brucellosis, then syphilis, then schistosoma hematobium infection or schistosomiasis are other infections which may also lead to cirrhosis of liver. Besides, some drugs like methotrexate, isoniazid, they are hepatotoxic drugs, and hepatotoxin, this may also cause cirrhosis of liver. Another important risk factor or etiology of cirrhosis is obesity. Now obesity is associated with fatty liver, that is non-alcoholic fatty liver, because obesity is associated with increase in insulin resistance, it increases the risk of diabetes, it increases the risk of hypercholesterolemia, hypertension, metabolic syndrome and so on, and by doing that it increases the more fat deposition in the liver and leads to fatty liver. Fatty liver stage, if it is not prevented or it is not reverted, it may lead to cirrhosis in future. So obesity is associated with non-alcoholic fatty liver as well as non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. Both of these conditions may lead to or transform into cirrhosis of liver in future. So obesity must be handled with care, should be treated sincerely by anti-obesity drugs, regular exercise, dietary habits. Then in case of morbid obesity, BMI more than 40, there is bariatric surgery which can ultimately rescue their morbid conditions. Then another important risk factor is hypertension. Hypertension is associated with obesity, it is associated with hypercholesterolemia and also associated with fatty liver and non-alcoholic fatty liver. Thus hypertension may ultimately increase the risk of non-alcoholic fatty liver, which may transform into a case of cirrhosis in future. Besides hypercholesterolemia or abnormal lipid effect or abnormal lipid profile or dyslipidemia are another important metabolic disorder which may be leads to increased amount of fat deposition in the liver and which may ultimately form the fatty liver. Fatty liver is not blocked or transformed or prevented, it may leads to another chronic liver disease known as cirrhosis and ultimately even leads to hepatocellular failure also. So what I mean to say, hypercholesterolemia or high level of cholesterol should be prevented by doing dietary restriction or by anti-hypolipidemic drugs like statins, clofeprate and so on. Metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome is another important risk factor or causative factor for non-alcoholic fatty liver. Metabolic syndrome is associated with insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes mellitus, hypercholesterolemia, hyperlipidemia, dyslipidemia, then obesity, high BMI, and ultimately they are also responsible for fatty liver, which may ultimately convert it into cirrhosis of liver. So metabolic syndrome can be is an important modifiable risk factor for cirrhosis of liver. Besides non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, it is a stage of chronic liver disease just before the cirrhosis. So presence of non-alcoholic steatohepatitis may be an important causative factor or risk factor or etiology for development into cirrhosis in future. So diabetes, protein energy malnutrition, coronary artery disease, steroid therapy all may leads to the increased risk of development of non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. So this is a reversible condition and can be treated and can be prevented if it is intervened with right attitude and right strategy. And thus non-alcoholic steatohepatitis may be an important risk factor or preventive risk factor for development of cirrhosis of liver. Next one is alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency. Alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency may involve defect in the alveolar wall leading to antitrypsin deficiency, which may leads to emphysema, which is a type of COPD. So alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency may be seen in COPD like emphysema or where there is alveolar damage, and at the same time it also may involve hepatocellular damage leading to cirrhosis. So cirrhosis may also be seen in case of alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency, which may be a genetic disorder. Besides Indian childhood cirrhosis, Indian childhood cirrhosis is because of excessive intake of copper, which may lead to copper toxicity, and copper will deposit in the liver leading to hepatocellular failure and ultimately cirrhosis of liver. So it may happen in those children or child who are taking meal in a copper vessel or copper plates or copper metallic. So those are taking our food on the copper metallic dishes, they are prone to excessive entry of copper through their diet, and which may increase the risk of cirrhosis of liver, as copper may deposit in the liver and leads to toxicity and liver failure. So Indian childhood cirrhosis may be because of excessive intake of copper through diet, and we should restrict intake of food through copper vessels or copper plates and copper plates. Next come the another important risk factor or etiology is cardiac cirrhosis. What is cardiac cirrhosis? It is also called congestive cirrhosis of liver. So it occurs in because of right heart failure. So in right heart failure there is more congestion of blood in the right heart, so venous return will be compromised, so there will be more blood accumulation in the vein leading to venous congestion. So systemic venous congestion also involves the venous congestion of the liver, leading to CVC of the liver, also known as chronic venous congestion. And chronic venous congestion, if remain persistent for longer period, may lead to cirrhosis of liver. Thus, right heart failure may lead to cirrhosis of liver because of chronic venous congestion in the liver. So we should not take right heart failure very lightly. We should try to prevent the right heart failure because it may lead to increase in the systemic venous congestion, even the venous congestion of the liver, leading to cirrhosis. So right heart failure ultimately leads to cirrhosis of liver, and this condition is known as cardiac cirrhosis. Besides, other risk factors may be intake of excessive amount of hepatotoxic drugs and toxins. So one of the important toxin is alcohol, then analgesics, antipyretics like paracetamol, NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, then isoniazid, some anti-tubercular drugs may also be hepatotoxic. So those are drugs. Some drugs are there which are hepatotoxic and very much toxic to the liver. They cause liver injury and ultimately cause permanent hepatocellular damage, leading to cirrhosis. So we should avoid unnecessary intake of hepatocellular toxic drug or hepatotoxic drug or liver toxic drug like isoniazid, methotrexate, certain anti-cancer drug also, anti-tubercular drug also. They may be very much toxic to the liver and ultimately cause cirrhosis of liver. Besides, NSAID analgesics like excessive intake of paracetamol or painkillers may be harmful for the kidney also as well as for the liver also. So we should always try to avoid the hepatotoxic drugs so as to prevent the future cirrhosis of liver. So these are the various risk factors or causative factors or etiology of liver cirrhosis. So most important is alcoholism, then hepatitis B, C virus, D virus is also responsible, then non-alcoholic fatty liver, and various risk factors causing non-alcoholic fatty liver as hypertension, metabolic syndrome, obesity, hypercholesterolemia, insulin resistance, diabetes, and so on. Besides, some disease like hematochromatosis, there is excessive iron accumulation or iron toxicity, then copper toxicity, also known as Wilson disease, may also increase the risk of cirrhosis in future. Besides, some storage disease like glycogen storage disease, biochemical disease like glycogen storage disease, galactosemia can also lead to cirrhosis of liver. Besides, some disease like autoimmune hepatitis, primary sclerosing cholangitis, primary biliary cirrhosis may also increase the risk of cirrhosis in future. So these are the various risk factors which ultimately leads to cirrhosis of liver. Some of the factors also enhance the risk of fatty liver. And fatty liver, if it is a liver reversible stage, but if it is not intervened in right moment with right therapy, then it ultimately it may proceed to the most serious step of liver disease known as cirrhosis. So knowledge of the risk factors and preventive measures are very much important, because there are some risk factors like modifiable risk factors. Now modifiable risk factors can be controlled or prevented by cutting out the risk factors or doing some therapeutic measurement so that risk factors cannot harm the liver, and by doing that we can prevent the risk of getting cirrhosis of liver. And even in those patients who are already in cirrhotic stage, by knowing the risk factors or cutting down the risk factors, we can stop progression of the disease or progression of the cirrhosis, so that the final hepatocellular failure, or we can prevent the development of hepatocellular failure. So knowledge of the risk factors and cutting down the risk factors or preventive measures due to risk factor prevention can play important role in prevention of the progression of the disease, prevent the risk of the disease, and also help in therapeutic intervention in development of cirrhosis of liver. Thank you very much.